afternoon, evening, whatever you want to call it. I see Mimsy Limbs is in the I see Mimsy's in the chat already. How you doing, Mimsy? I hope you're doing well. Good evening to you. Um this is an early, weird, odd time show. Hi Serenity, how you doing? This is an odd time for me to go on, but I want to watch it's ironic because I'm about to do a story on the NBA and their ties to the Cervasi and Gambino family and all the gambling that's been going on there. And I'm getting ready to go watch, the Cavs game. So I think that's kind of ironic. And then the World Series tonight. So yeah, I'm trying to get some stuff in before we I get off so I can go ahead and do what I do for the night. How you doing, Candy? What's up, Ryan? Um, but yeah, do you guys know what I'm talking about? Have you guys heard the have you guys not heard about the NBA stuff? This shit's pretty weird, pretty crazy, man. Like the whole time you sit there and you go, I knew this stuff was rigged. I knew this was rigged. Like the whole time we knew it was rigged. And like all the people that I grew up playing, I know LeBron James is even implemented in this scandal in 2023. 2023. A lot of ex-Cavaliers players are in the mix. A lot of champions. So this has to do with the gambling. This has to do with people sitting out when they could have stayed in so that they could hit certain numbers so their people could win money. It's just an old school gambling session. So let's see what actually is going on. There was coaches, players, ex-players. There's all types of people involved. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and show that for now. See what happened here because I have no effing clue exactly to who's all involved.
At play here. One includes two former NBA players and coaches accused of conspiring with the mafia in an illegal rigged poker scheme. The other involves an active NBA player accused of faking an injury on the court as part of a sports gambling scheme. That player is Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier. Federal authorities arrested him in Orlando.
By the way, Terry Rozier had contracts of over $100 million. So I don't know why you would need to even do this, but
Orlando this morning. He appeared in court today. Rozier's accused of exiting a 2023 game with a phantom foot injury so that he and his co-conspirators, including his childhood friend, could make tens of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, NBA Hall of Famer and current head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, Chauncey Billups, appeared in Portland federal court today. Billups is accused of coordinating with the mafia during rigged poker games where victims lost more than $7 million over 6 years. Prosecutors say they used this shuffling machine to cheat. They also allegedly used X-ray tables to secretly view cards, but that's not all, Brett. The indictment reads in part, quote, the defendants also utilized other cheating technologies, such as electronic poker chip trays that could secretly read cards placed on the poker table, and playing cards that had markers visible only to individuals wearing specially designed contact lenses or sunglasses. Former NBA player and coach Damon Jones is listed in both indictments, so that means he's accused of partaking in the illegal...
Okay, so with Damon Jones, and there'll be an update with this, but Damon Jones was LeBron's teammate in Cleveland, and he was the assistant coach in 2023 when LeBron for LeBron and the Lakers. So he was doing inside advice, basically telling people, I don't know if they're going to say it here because it's kind of just coming out. He was basically giving, like whether LeBron's going to play, whether he's hurt. He would be responsible for taking LeBron off the court in certain times. There was a lot of shady shit going on.
Rigged poker games and selling insider information for NBA bets.
This is the insider trading saga for the NBA. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation.
The NBA said both Billups and Rozier have been placed on leave from their respective teams immediately. This is also the same investigation that resulted in a lifetime ban for former Toronto Raptors player Jontay Porter, who admitted to altering his play during games. He's set to be sentenced in December. Brett?
Nate, thank you.
Let's bring in Joshua Ritter, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, and a Fox News contributor. Joshua, great to have you on. I want to play this soundbite because I think it's fascinating. This is the commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver, but it was 2 days ago on the Pat McAfee show, and he's talking about gambling and how it needs to be reined in. Watch this.
But we've asked some of our partners to pull back some of the prop bets, especially when they're on two-way players, guys who don't have the same stake in the competition, where, you know, it's too easy to manipulate something which seems otherwise small and inconsequential to the overall score. We're trying to put in place, and learning as we go and working with the betting companies, some additional controls to prevent sort of some of that manipulation.
He's trying to talk about the prop bets there, which we talked about earlier, you know, meaning, hey, how many, if you talk about somebody like Terry Rozier, how many points is he going to get? How many rebounds? How many, you know, assists and so forth? And if it's over or under, you win a certain amount of money. And then the players are accused of manipulating that, job.
Yeah, do you think he thought something might be coming?
Right,
I mean,
right.
It sounds a lot like it. It's exactly what we're talking about here, is that this is...
He got arrested at the team hotel in front of his team, as well as Chauncey Billups.
This is a stat that no one, you and I, a casual viewer of the NBA, is going to pay attention to. Whether or not one player goes over or under on his time played or the amount of points that he has. But to people betting, it can be a big bet. And especially if they have inside information that he might be pulling himself out of the game early, the consequences could be millions of dollars in Vegas.
Yeah, and the thing to me is, you know, you look at both of these different cases and you look at the poker one and you're like, yeah, I mean, this is the mafia. I mean, it's egregious, really bad. And, you know, but it's been going on for a lot of years. They're using new technology to cheat in poker and using coaches to lure other, you know, big whales.
This is crazy. The way they did this poker is crazy.
In, as they're known in Vegas, the big gamblers. But this NBA thing, I mean, it goes to the very integrity of the game, Josh.
Absolutely. I think that part of it is going to have consequences way beyond today. I mean, you're right. A shady card game taking place in some back room of a bar, a lot of people are going to worry about that years from now. But the integrity of the NBA and whether or not players are involved in throwing games and the consequences this could have in Vegas,
We knew that it was rigged.
It's going to have ramifications for years to come.
And it's interesting because you talk about, you know, well, his buddies were betting $10,000 on this and this person was betting this. And you're thinking, listen, you got a guy like Terry Rozier was making $26 million a year. What are you spending, you know, what are you ruining your career for, allegedly, for $10,000 that your buddy can win?
It makes no sense. We were talking about this earlier. I don't understand it. What is the appeal? Is it just that they're interested in the hustle of it, that they can't take themselves out of that excitement of being involved in the betting somehow, or having this inside information? But you're right, they're making millions of dollars. This is not the kind of money that you would expect for them to make these types of decisions about.
I want to play this very quickly. This is Stephen A. Smith, and he's talking about you know, bringing a little political stuff into this whole mix. Watch.
Trump is coming. Don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list. We've seen athletes get in trouble with the law before. You don't see the director of the FBI having a press conference. It's not coincidental. It's not an accident. It's a statement. Talk to people in the NBA. Talk to people in the NFL. Talk to people in the world of sports. They think this is like the tip of the iceberg.
It's not just a little bit of this and that with Stephen A. One thing, it began under the Biden administration. Nate Foy was talking about one of these poker games in 2019, began a long time ago. The other thing, it goes to the very integrity of the entire NBA, which is a multi-billion-dollar sport around the world.
I do agree with Stephen A. at least on one point, that I do think it's the tip of the iceberg. I can't imagine. I mean, every time you look at these federal indictments, you got to look at who are the unindicted co-conspirators that may not even be named.
Right.
Those are people cooperating, and there could be more information coming.
You wonder the big names. I mean, that's the whole thing, is we've gotten these names, but as this investigation gets deeper and you start looking at more different bets along the way, you know, the name list tends to go up.
It seems to me like this is more of a mob story that found some NBA players and a coach.
Hey, I think he stole what I was about to say. I think this is more than just poker and rig. This is saying the mafia is still out there, guys. And all the stuff that used to happen in the 70s and 80s, maybe even 90s, is still happening today.
Former player who were playing along. I mean, literally put out as like bait in the water to draw suckers in from all across America. But millions of dollars involved. What you think?
Well, I do think that they said it was a multi-year operation. Yeah. I like one of the names was of the operation was called Operation Royal Flush. Sometimes they get kind of creative there. I thought Christopher Raya, who is the deputy director, I can't remember his exact title, the way he laid it all out was very impressive. And clearly they had great coordination. They had no leaks. And this is a story, this is one for the ages. And we have great guests for you. Clay Travis, Donna Rotuno, former FBI supervisory agent James Gagliano, and Jim Gray. Thank you all for being here. Donna, let's maybe just go to you first on the legal front, since you were there right before this press conference. What did you take away? Big surprises?
Do you have a car? And do you have a clean driving record? Did you know you could pay as low?
Anything.
Mafia has been relevant forever, bro. The 20s, they were in for prohibition, in the 30s, but they really started running shit when the Gambino family and everybody else started doing shit in the 60s, 50s. Nah, they've been running stuff. They didn't stop until the 80s.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of big surprises. Frankly, that sounded like we were watching a movie.
Really, the 90s, when they busted, what's his name, with all that ecstasy and he snitched, that was pretty much the end of it. What was his name? Sammy the Bull? That was pretty much the end of the mafia at that point.
I mean, just the amount of people involved, the extent at which they went to perpetrate this, from the fraud to the cameras under the tables to cameras in chandeliers to, you know, it really did sound like we were listening to Goodfellas or something. It was really quite extraordinary. I think we have to remember there's two totally separate indictments here, and although they came out on the same day and there's some overlap, we have one dealing with NBA betting and then we have one dealing with crime families and poker games. And so there really are two separate issues to discuss here. And, you know, they happen to come out on the same day, but they are two separate indictments and we have to look at them separately, because the NBA betting, although they didn't talk about it as much, I think that's going to have a larger impact on society as a whole than even the poker games involving certain people and certain groups. But the betting has an implication on many people who bet on online gambling, you know, platforms, and the trust that people have for regular fans. And I'm sure Clay will talk about this, but regular fans of the NBA, people who love sports, people who want to watch sports, people who want to believe that the game is not rigged. These have major implications.
Yeah. Let's give everybody a crack at the apple, and then we'll dive further in, Donna. Well done. James, what did you hear for the past 45 minutes?
Yeah, Lindsay.
Bill, I have to say, I think the lead was buried. I mean, they're going to show pictures of Jones and Rozier and Bill.
I agree, Mimsy. You know, I'm glad I'm just not talking about fucking politics at this one moment. I understand it's a scandal. Honestly, what this is doing, and tell me in the chat if I'm wrong, but does this not verify, like, NBA went from being a sports league to sport, or to an entertainment. They're entertainment. They're like WWF. They're just what is it? Sports entertainment. They're not a fucking actual sports league. Shit's scripted.
And the NBA logo, because obviously that's what kind of sucks.
I mean, it's that, or we talk. There's other stuff coming up, but you know, I think the mafia, the whole cartel stuff is pretty crazy too. But you know, they want me. The main thing they kept pushing was, oh, Trump's ballroom. Trump's ballroom. It's like, bro, nobody gives a shit.
Everybody in where you go, wow, these are rich people, they're famous people, and they were involved in an illegal gambling activity. Here's the buried lead. It's the fact that the mob is back. We've long thought of La Cosa Nostra, the 5 families of New York, and I worked on the Gambino squad when I was an FBI agent, as being on the way out. Well, 3/5 of them, only the Lucchese's and the Colombos are sitting down right now saying, how did we not get a piece of this? But this is a fascinating case, and 31 subjects in one of them and 6 in the other. This is going to be an interesting case to follow going forward.
Jim Gray, thank you for being here. The NBA cooperated. That was one of the last questions that we had there. And you know, there's so many strings to pull. The sweater could unravel pretty quickly. Your takeaway?
Well, all of these sports leagues, and in this instance the NBA, are dependent on the games being real, not being fixed. Once you lose the confidence of the public that the games are not real and that they can be thrown, then you have just a huge, huge issue, and that's the biggest concern here. When you have a current NBA player who's involved, and Chauncey Billups now, not accused of throwing games or doing anything to rig that game, but playing in poker, it just eats at the credibility and the integrity, and it's very dangerous and very problematic.
Yeah, Clay, your take?
So you guys might recall recently I made a video on Expedience product. These guys do high-tech fitness gear. It was called the Gym Monster 2. This is their exercise bike, same company.
I'll just say
two things.
Bro, my typing is longer than where's the damn. He said it's not just Terry Rozier and Chauncey. Nah, it's not just Terry and Chauncey. There's like 32 other players that are indicted. I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't say 33 players. You know, there's got to be one more because you know WWF or WWE and the NBA are a Masonic fucking league, 1,000%. Go look up Shaq and any LeBron, any of them cats. Anyways.
One, I bet there's some guys watching us right now who said, I knew I wasn't that bad at poker, I mean, the details here. This sounds like, I think Donna said it, a Hollywood movie in the rigged nature of the way the mafia was taking advantage of these guys. I mean, I jotted down.
Can a man just not get one good fucking poker game in there?
They called the quarterback, the guy sitting at the table who was signaling cards. They had the face cards, which were the athletes potentially drawing in these gamblers. And then in particular, Jess Tisch, who was with the New York Police Department, signaled out Terry Rozier. I jotted this down, guys. Told everybody he was going to leave the game early, left after 9 minutes. $200,000, she said, was wagered on the under. That is that he's not going to be able to achieve whatever the prop bets were on that particular game. And then she said the proceeds were delivered to his house where they counted the cash. Now, $200,000, guys, sounds like a lot of money to normal people. He's making $26.6 million.
$200,000 isn't shit to Dubai. In America, you guys think $200,000 is so much, but in Dubai, that's just peasant money. You fucking retard.
Rozier is, he's made in his career $160 million. This is mind-numbingly stupid. He may be in prison for years now, but the dollars at stake here are a pinprick of what he made almost per game. So this is a mess for the NBA. And again, it goes to what Jim said. The integrity of the game itself is what fans rely on. And when you got players who are making decisions like this, you have to wonder how much bigger could this be.
James, I want to play for everybody here. This is the NYPD commissioner about the poker games and some of the shenanigans that were going on.
Victims believed that they were sitting at a fair table. Instead, they were cheated out of millions. One victim in particular lost $1.8 million. In total, losses exceeded $7 million and continue to climb. And when people refused to pay, these defendants did what organized crime has always done. They used threats, they used intimidation, and they used violence. It's the same pattern that we have seen for decades. Traditional mob enforcement methods combined with new technology to expand the reach of their operations.
James,
don't worry, the CIA and the FBI will infiltrate this too, and they'll figure out their new tactics. Don't worry, and then they'll start imposing them on us. That's what they do. They use my Italian people for their smart, strategic moves, and they steal them. That's what they do.
There's so many different questions here. One, I think the sheer amount of coordination amongst all of the different entities is impressive, but also what you said earlier is something that we said while we were watching. It's like we thought the mafia had kind of gone away, and that's not the case. And sports betting was always something that was lingering out there, but now it's legal. So tell me a little bit more about how they reconstituted over the last several years.
Sure. So Dana, 34 years ago, a number of us FBI agents in the New York office stood along the same causeway right there when John Gotti was convicted of murder, extortion, racketeering, and illegal gambling activities. And you listen to how this happened. I mean, the violence that's attached to this, it's not just fraud, but the conspiracy also included Hobbs Act extortion. So this is straight out of Goodfellas. And to put a fine point on your question, look, the mob, La Cosa Nostra, this thing of ours, it's been around a long time. It came here to the shores when Italian Americans immigrated from 1892 to 1943 and ended up on Ellis Island. They are not going away. It's a game of whack-a-mole. The more that we put pressure on the NYPD, the FBI, and other groups get our attention, they come back and reconstitute.
All right, here's soundbite number 2, guys. This is a U.S. attorney. This is Joseph Nucella, okay? He's talking about the operation that they use. What you referred to, Clay. Listen here.
They used off-the-shelf shuffling machines that had been secretly altered in order to read the cards in the deck, predict which player at the table had the best poker hand, and relay that information to an off-site operator. Defendants used other cheating technologies such as poker chip tray analyzers, which is a poker chip tray that secretly reads cards using a hidden camera, special contact lenses or eyeglasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards face down on the table.
Donna, how much do you know about an investigation like that and what it entails based on time and manpower?
Oh, the amount of hours, the amount of manpower, the amount of subpoena power, the things that had to go into this were enormous. The amount of time spent, look at the number of people just standing at that press conference. I don't think we've ever seen a press conference with that many different areas of law enforcement and that many people involved. It's actually nice to see the agencies working together and being able to pool their resources and come up with these answers for us. This was really quite extensive, and I think we're going to see as this plays out and the evidence is revealed what truly went into this, and I think it's going to be extraordinary.
Jim, what do you think Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, is thinking right now?
One of the pitfalls of getting your commercial driver's license on your own is
That was exactly why I didn't get up to go grab more coffee. I knew there would be a commercial or some shit.
Well, I think he's beyond concerned. They just had.
I don't know how long I'll keep this going. I want to get to another topic, but I'm kind of interested. Let me know in the chat if y'all get bored with it.
2 great nights in the NBA. Victor Wembanyama came back for the San Antonio Spurs, and we saw on opening night a double overtime game that was just terrific between the champion OKC team, the Thunder, against the Houston Rockets. And so now he's got this on his plate. And he made a comment in one of the interviews that he did that he had been working with gaming companies, or that the NBA had wanted to work with gaming companies on these prop bets. So he knows that it's an issue. And if you can believe these statistics, Dana and Bill, that are printed, $147 billion. $147 billion was wagered on sports in this country, $84 billion supposedly illegally. So the leagues used to have an arm's length from all of this. And in recent years, because of this proliferation, they've started to embrace it. Not their players, obviously, and the coaches, but the public, and putting up betting lines up. And so all of this has changed dramatically, very, very quickly. And what Clay said, this is really small amounts of money compared to what these guys are making, particularly in the case of Rozier. It's astonishing that somebody would risk going to jail, losing all of this money that they can make, to bet on these things. It's insanity.
Yeah, to all of you, thank you. Clay, I know you'll be on the radio later, probably talking a lot about this.
You guys remember the Cleveland Browns player that got arrested for selling weed and got caught with like 500 pounds of weed? And dude was a multi-millionaire. I forget what his name is. If you remember what his name is, tell me in the chat. I think it was Gerard Warren, but I'm not 1,000%. But you remember, dude was like the number 3 pick and got caught with like 500 pounds of weed in Texas, or 1,000 pounds of weed in Texas.
Terrific stuff, guys. Like on the fly reaction there. We'll see where it goes. Thanks. We were sitting here talking about who's going to write this book.
Yeah.
Right? Who's going to write the screenplay for it? There's more to be discovered here, I think. I mean, we're just scratching the surface here, and
because 29 people were arrested, and
30, yes,
we know that of 30. And Rozier is going to appear in court today, and probably others. So we're just at the beginning of this story, and it's a fascinating one, indeed.
Yes, I thought that quote that Jessica Tish had. But Rozier's been under investigation in the past, and they cleared him. He said he's been benched not for injury, but for integrity. He'll be in Orlando today in court.
Indeed. All right.
We're going to start, in the meantime, with the other big story of the day.
And Blaine, what about the baseball gambling? You know, they took 2 of Cleveland's best pitchers away a few months ago. They still haven't said nothing. Emmanuel Clase, he got in trouble for gambling. Why aren't they? There's a lot going on. Is it just all sports are rigged? Am I rushing to get this show over so I can go watch the rigged game? I mean, I like watching wrestling, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. But I mean, damn, dude. The only thing we got left is college football. But now that they pay them, that's probably compromised. And I don't know if you guys heard, but yesterday they just passed, at least in Ohio, that they're now paying NIL deals, which is they're paying high school football players now. So if you get a deal in high school, you can now get paid to play high school football. Just like college, how they did the NIL deals, same thing.
That's Operation Royal Flush and Operation Nothing But Net. 2 bombshells, one of them rocking the NBA. An FBI gambling bust involving high-profile basketball stars and the mafia. Suspects are accused of rigging bets and setting up illegal poker games. Let's take a look at the 2 operations over at the wall. The first is Operation Nothing But Net. This was a sports gambling scheme involving several stars in the NBA. It happened between December of 2022 and March of 2024. It involved 6 different defendants, nicknames like Spook, Vez, Sugar. There was Damon Jones, a noted NBA player, and Scary Terry, who is Terry Rozier himself, to place bets over-under, more or less, on how many points that particular player may score on a given night. The charges include wire fraud, conspiracy, money laundering. Now, if convicted, each of these defendants could face a maximum of 20 years each. Here's how it played out. Here's what it means for the NBA. Several games we know were alleged to have been affected. March 2023, the Charlotte Hornets game, Terry Rozier tipped off and left the game within 9 minutes of being on the floor. That info was used to place, we know, or it's alleged, a $200,000 bet. In a 2023 game, Portland Trail Blazers game, an insider gave info that the Blazers' top player would sit out the game, and that was used to wage $100,000. And then in April of the same year, during an Orlando Magic game, relationships were leveraged for a Magic player that several of the team's top players would sit out, and then we know an at least $11,000 bet was placed. So it also included 4 and 5 games of the Los Angeles Lakers between February of 2023 and January of 2024. Damon Jones shared insider info on lineup decisions and medical information that was used to place wagers.
Oh,
there was also Toronto Raptors games as well involved, where John Tay Porter told a co-conspirator that he would exit the game early, allowing people to place bets within the game. Now, I mentioned there was also Operation Royal Flush. This is where, again, several high-profile NBA players helped rig poker games. This entire scheme involved 4 of the 5 major Italian mafia families of New York, the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families.
Have you ever wanted to see your home from space? With this free satellite Earth Maps tool, you can zoom right down to your exact address in just seconds. Imagine pulling up your neighborhood, spotting your roof, your street, even the landmarks around you.
This alleged illegal gambling operation hustled unwitting victims out of tens of millions of dollars and created a financial pipeline for La Cosa Nostra to help fund and facilitate their organized criminal activity. Victims were attracted to play alongside well-known professional athletes and coaches like Chauncey Billups, only to be unknowingly deceived through rigged shuffling machines, fixing the odds in their favor.
Rigged shuffling machines, cameras embedded into chip trays, x-ray tables that could read cards from underneath, all designed so that everyone at the table was in on the scam except for the mark who could lose millions of dollars at the poker table. The NBA is cooperating reportedly with this investigation and the FBI. Now, on the screen, you just heard from my next guest. That's FBI New York Assistant Director in Charge, Christopher Rayer. Christopher, thanks for being with us here today. I think in the time that we have together, which is short, unfortunately, I want to ask you two questions. Number one, how did this start? How did this entire thing hit the radar of the FBI?
Yeah, this actually started, first of all, Will, thanks for having me. This actually started as a spinoff from one of our previous cases, and you had mentioned the Jontay Porter case, and you're familiar with that case. So we got to digging into that, did some more investigation, follow-on investigation like we see, and we uncovered these new pathways or these new leads, and we're able to bring it to fruition like you saw today, which is a culmination of 2 years of investigative work.
Jontay Porter, a former NBA player who got in trouble for gambling. I'm curious then, was Porter helpful in then setting off this investigation? Was he a cooperator in this investigation?
Well, as you know, I can't comment one way or the other on that. I will tell you as a result of the investigation from that, from the Jontay Porter investigation, that's what launched us into this other investigation.
Okay. I don't know if you can help me answer this question as well at this point, but there is a suspicion, there's a feeling out there, Christopher, that this is a bit of a tip of the iceberg situation when it comes to sports gambling. Is there more coming from the FBI?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I will tell you, in cases like this, traditionally, this really is the tip of the iceberg. We have more investigation to do. We have more interviews to do. Obviously, cooperators are going to come out of this. We see these investigations, whether it's Italian organized crime, Eurasian organized crime, or illegal gambling. We oftentimes find that there is more to it than just this initial salvo, if you will. So we're going to keep we're going to keep our foot to the pedal, our pedal to the metal on this, and we're going to continue to investigate this along with the rest of the 5 families that are operating here in New York.
Beyond the 5 families, which in and of itself, as an FBI agent, you probably get here people tired of people suggesting it's made for another Hollywood movie, but it truly is in this case. But I'm curious from the NBA angle, is there more? Will there be other NBA players who will be investigated?
You know, I think only time will tell. I think only time will tell. We're going to do our due diligence. We're going to investigate folks, and we're going to see how systemic is this problem. I think that's the biggest question right now. Is this a systemic problem in the NBA, or is this an isolated incident? And there's a lot of work that needs to get done in the next days, weeks, months to try to answer that question.
Okay. We hope you'll continue to keep us informed as you begin to answer those questions. Thanks for being with us. Sorry that our time was cut short today, but we're glad to have you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Will.
18 past the hour now, and some breaking news on this story in the NBA. Watch this now. It's still developing. It's our understanding that there are arrests being made actively as we speak. This is rocking the league. The FBI arresting a coach in Portland, as well as current and former players. We expect to learn more 40 minutes from now with a news conference from the FBI. Nate Foy's live in Brooklyn, where that news conference will take place. And Nate, good morning to you. What do we know so far? Hello.
Hey, Bill, good morning. Yeah, all eyes will be on that news conference at the top of the hour, as right now we're learning at least 31 people with sports ties and mafia ties so far have been arrested as part of an FBI investigation into illegal sports betting in the NBA and also an illegal poker scheme. Now, the big names, big name coach and player, Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups, as well as a lesser known player and coach, Damon Jones. So far, the 3 names that we know, but we'll start with Rozier. This comes after an investigation.
I think we've heard enough with this. I'm gonna go ahead and go to the next topic. It's this one right here. Trying to get a pipe bomb. A fucking pipe. What did I just see? Hold on. Did I just see it? Hold on a second. I guess it's
You can see there, Cash was talking about drug raids in that city. Let's listen in to this on live now.
What you see amassed in front of you is what happens when you let good cops be cops, when you let interagency, state and local police work together to rid our cities of the harmful plague of drug trafficking organizations and gang violence. And there's an important distinction to be made. Yesterday I was in the White House with the President for the Homeland Security Task Force. And while that lift is being done at the international level to wipe out drug trafficking organizations and gang violence, our urban cities from Los Angeles to Philadelphia, New York, and everywhere in between are being plagued by localized street gangs and gang violence and drug trafficking organizations. Once the drugs and guns come in, they need an outfit to deliver them to our communities. And we needed to attack those outfits. And the reason I wanted to come to Philadelphia today is because this takedown, brought to you by the men and women standing behind me and their wonderful teams, the Philadelphia Police Department, the FBI, and the United States Attorney's Office, are bringing to bear what law enforcement can do when you unleash them and let them go after the criminals that are destroying our communities, that are harming our civilization, and that are hurting our children. This Weymouth Street Gang is not just one instance of removing a couple of people. It is an example of how you remove an entire organization that is corrupting not just the city of Philadelphia, but the state of Pennsylvania as well. And I felt it extremely important to come in here and say, not only are we removing guns and gang members and robbers and firearms, we are removing an entire coordinated section of gang violence permanently off the streets. And that's how you deliver a victory for the people of Philadelphia, the people of Pennsylvania, and the people of America. I'm so proud and humbled to be joined here today by these wonderful representatives from the police force, from the FBI, and a shout out to the Department of Justice and our United States Attorney Metcalf here. You need courageous prosecutors to bring these cases. You need people that aren't going to say no, that are going to bend the knee, that are going to say, oh, it's too hard to bring this case. It's too difficult to collect the evidence. When you hear the details of this case, everyone in America should be looking at this takedown. This takedown is how you safeguard American cities from coast to coast. This takedown is an interagency process, years in the making. Extensive legal service and process was executed here, correctly done to make sure that the integrity of the investigation is upheld and the criminals are put into the legal system and brought before a judge and a jury, and they will have their rightful day in court. But the overarching importance of this case and this takedown is this is exactly how you safeguard American lives. You go after the organizations that are inflicting pain across America in each and every city. And this is my tenure as FBI director. This is one of the largest and most impressive gang takedowns that I have ever seen. So I felt it important to come here and just shake the hands of the brave men and women that did this work. I did not have much of a role in this operation. The FBI brought in an incredible amount of assets to include HRT and SWAT teams, tactical teams to hit houses at the same time. The level of coordination that goes into just the takedown is a small reflection of the level of coordination and planning that goes into making a case like this happen. We have permanently removed a drug trafficking organization out of the streets of Philadelphia, and they're going to stop pouring guns and chemicals and drugs into our communities, and our children are safer today. So I just want to thank the men and women of law enforcement, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and of course, the proud men and women of the FBI who are leading the charge across this country. If anyone out there is watching in your streets, in your communities, this is how you stop gang violence. Thank you.
What if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want? With Wix, you can.
Let me see if I can get this video that I have. I wanted to show it to you, but I needed to get the watermarks and shit off. It's about the AI and what's going on in Ohio. I want to show it to you guys. Let me see if I can get it. Redirected.
Thank you, Director. It's an honor to have you here today. My name is David Metcalf. I'm the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. I'm pleased to be joined by Special Agent in Charge Wayne Jacobs for the FBI, Special Agent in Charge Todd Hodnett with the DEA. We're also joined by the Pennsylvania Attorney General's Office, Kirsten Hine, and Chief of Criminal Investigations John Kissinger. And of course, we're always pleased to have Commissioner Bethel here. It's an honor to have you here, sir, as well. Today we are announcing a historic indictment. This case involves 33 defendants. It's a massive drug trafficking.
33! Another one! 33. Literally 33. Who the fuck is shot?
Conspiracy spanning nearly a decade, involving tremendous volumes of fentanyl
33.
and narcotics. And it takes place at the epicenter of the opioid crisis here in the Kensington neighborhood of Philadelphia. This indictment by defendant is the largest federal indictment this century brought by our district. And like a precision missile, it has been targeted for maximum impact where it needed to go. As I said, at the heart of the opioid scourge here in Kensington. As of this morning, 29 defendants are in custody, thanks to a successful operation by the FBI and our other law enforcement partners. Throughout the course of the coordinated takedown, as well as the investigation overall, we've been able to recover dozens of firearms off the street, including assault rifles, seize substantial volumes of fentanyl and narcotics at locations associated with the defendant. This case takes place at the crossroads of drugs and violence, and we are all here with a loud and unmistakable message that we are reclaiming these neighborhoods for the people who live and work here. We are taking back what the defendants are alleged to have stolen from the community, which is peace, prosperity, law, and order. As the director's presence here today indicates, this case is special. It's one of those few cases which, if successful, will eliminate an entire criminal outfit. It will clean and cleanse a whole neighborhood and will virtually eradicate a violent drug trafficking organization root and stem. To be clear, every defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty. An indictment is only an allegation. And this indictment alleges that the Weymouth Street drug trafficking organization, for nearly a decade, sold and distributed substantial volumes of fentanyl, crack cocaine, and heroin, mostly in the 3100 block of Weymouth Street. They made their living in one of the most notorious and prolific segments of an open-air drug market here in Kensington. They ran it like a business, but they also ran it, as the director alluded to, by violence, by fear, and by threats. They enforced their territory through the threats of assaults, shootings, and murder. They threatened anyone who talked to or cooperated with law enforcement. They were armed. The indictment further alleges that this DTO was led by Jose Antonio Morales Nieves, aka Flaco, a 45-year-old man from Puerto Rico, but a frequent flyer here in Philadelphia, who essentially owned the 3100 block of Weymouth Street and allowed other members of the DTO to sell drugs on the block in exchange for a payment of rent. He was joined by Roman Montañez, 40-year-old from Philadelphia, who essentially ran the day-to-day operations of the Weymouth Street DTO. He collected revenue, he organized the schedules of the workers, and orchestrated a pretty sophisticated business enterprise that peddled in poison. He also was responsible for procuring the drug supply for the organization. And on that score, I'll note that the indictment alleges that this organization did not care how dangerous the drugs were that they peddled to customers.
Truth or dare?
Truth.
I just ate mood with my dad. So he came over and
Mr. Montañez wanted it as strong and as powerful as possible. In fact, the indictment alleges that at one point, one DTO member ignored the nature of the drugs they were selling, and yet the DTO continued to sell it day by day, month after month, for nearly a decade. Fortunately, Both of these men and most of their compatriots are now in the custody of the FBI, awaiting federal prosecution. I encourage all of you to read the indictment. It is now unsealed, and I couldn't possibly encapsulate and summarize all of the offense conduct in just a press conference, but it is truly staggering. As I mentioned, this case is special. I, as the U.S. Attorney, obviously represent the office and I lead it, but as a career prosecutor, I'd be remiss if I didn't give true credit where it belongs, which is to the line prosecutors and agents who built the case. And you only build a case like this with skill and ferocity, and day by day working it up to build a case that truly makes a difference. A case that is a long-term, comprehensive annihilation of a criminal organization. Those don't come around a lot. And I'll also say this couldn't be done without Commissioner Bethel and the Philadelphia Police Department. When you have a case like this and you have a significant federal indictment, I sometimes think there's this misconception that is a purely federal case. And that's just not true. You can't build a case like this, of this magnitude and scale, without the support of the Philadelphia Police Department. You can't do it without the resources they provide, and more importantly, the intelligence. And on that score, while I have everyone here, I'd like to talk about this case, but also talk more globally and strategically about what we're doing in this city to combat gun violence and drug trafficking. Because it's more than this case. This case is just an illustration and example of that work. And what we're doing is the Department of Justice, the U.S. Attorney's Office, FBI, DEA, HSI, ATF, and the Philadelphia Police Department have established an initiative, a violent crime initiative called PSN Recon. This is the violent crime initiative of the federal and state law enforcement community to attack violence in this city going forward. PSN Recon is named after Project Safe Neighborhood, which is the department's existing program combating gun violence. It is ultimately a criminal intelligence program. It's a way for all of us to consolidate and collect the intelligence from the entire law enforcement community and identify, target, and investigate the worst violent actors in this city. Because cases like this don't get formulated based on the word of one confidential informant or one ballistics match. You only put together cases like this, you only stop the violence by targeting the worst actors based on the best intelligence. And the best intelligence doesn't live in one place, it lives everywhere. And so Commissioner Bethel, myself, and our federal agency partners.
Put this up. I'm gonna smoke this and then I'll probably end this because this is whack.
They killed 300,000 people last year. Drugs, these drugs coming in. They killed 300,000 Americans last year, and that gives you legal authority.
Countless American lives will be saved because of our aggressive posture. That's thanks to President Trump. He's dispatching federal resources to cities whose elected officials just let criminals roam free.
We are getting all the gang members off the streets and the drug dealers. 58,000 kilos of cocaine. Think about a big backyard swimming pool. That would fill 1.5 swimming pools. Just the powder cocaine that has been removed, saving lives this last month. 2,300 kilos of fentanyl powder and 2.1 million fentanyl pills off the streets. We are going to supercharge this work. This is not a pilot program. This is permanent.
Meanwhile, at every turn, Democrats are fighting Trump. And they're fighting to keep criminal aliens in the United States and to keep vicious thugs on our streets. Governor Porkchop Pritzker is proud of policies like pretrial release and cashless bail, and he's unfazed if Americans suffer in the aftermath of those policies. Democrats are united. They're united in resisting Trump and being soft on crime. But Trump's team is just as united in their effort to keep protecting the American people.
The intelligence community plays a critical role in being able to support our law enforcement at the federal, state, and local level to make sure that they are armed with actionable intelligence. I'll say the last example I'll share is probably the most insidious, was providing intelligence to the Mexican law enforcement that led to the arrest of a CJNG cartel-affiliated baby trafficker called La Diabla. Her whole money-making operation was centered around luring pregnant women, performing illegal C-sections, harvesting organs, and selling newborn babies. Our folks, like everyone around this table, are working 24/7 without pay and eager to get after this because they believe in your leadership.
That's not an overstatement, by the way. This is true. They are working together, a united front. We finally have a leader who puts Americans first. After all, if we're not safe on our streets, in our homes, how can we truly be free?
This country was going to actually die without you. That's what we were facing in 2024. We've been invaded for 4 years. Our communities were sinking. Our public safety had gone to zero. Cartels were running entire communities. Sex trafficking, child trafficking, labor trafficking was out of control. Overdoses were out of control. The cartels were claiming more and more territory. City services were buckling. When you stepped...
But what about the politicians and the Hollywood Jays and the people the Diddy people and I don't even like saying the other guy's name, but that other Jay. Why, what's up with that shit?
Forward, originally in 2016, you started the movement to make America great again, and that means make America great again in every
like all of a sudden you give a shit, bro?
In just 9 months, President Trump is the only American leader, not just in our lifetimes, but ever, to actually take the fight to the drug cartels, to actually seek their eradication.
Yes, and every time he fights for American safety, every single time, Democrats challenge him in court. But he's winning there, too, even in the Ninth Circuit. So how many Americans are going to have to die before Gavin Newsom decides to begin strict enforcement of those trucking regulations in his state that Bill Malugin was just reporting on? And how many daughters and sons will wake up without fathers or mothers because left-wing politicians choose to lionize illegals and demonize ICE?
What is happening to undocumented immigrants is also happening to U.S. citizens.
When I see people being stopped because of the color of their skin and people are being demanded to prove their citizenship, I am angry because this is not the country that I want for us.
He's pounding that podium. I didn't see him pound that podium about later Arus Medina, the illegal alien from Nicaragua who raped a 54-year-old woman after he dragged her into an alley and smashed her head against the concrete. Remember, he came in under Biden into our country and was protected by pork chop sanctuary policies. But American victims, they don't count for Democrats.
The Oversight Committee will be launching on their website a master ICE tracker where we're essentially tracking every single instance that we can verify that the community will be able to send us information on.
They're going to get an ICE agent killed, and they don't care. Where governors in Texas and Florida launch initiatives to get tough on crime, lock them up, in Illinois, they work to fight the crime fighters.
The commission will be charged with 3 core missions. 1, creating a public record of the abuses. 2, capturing the impact on families and communities. And 3, recommending actions to prevent further harm and to pursue justice.
Justice? What does that man know about justice? He's more worried about Trump and his own 2028 ambitions than the deaths and shootings that occur on his streets every single week. There are entire websites devoted to tracking Chicago homicide victims. Does Pritzker even know any of their names? Going forward, in every state across America, in the Virginia and the New Jersey gubernatorial races in November, and in the midterms next year, voters have to ask themselves, which party is fighting for my family and which party is fighting for the criminals? Tonight, the answer is clear, and that's the angle.
In the Win with Zinn sweepstakes, you can get a chance to win $100,000. But there's more than one way to win with Zinn. Here's how it works. For
TDS has been around for a very long time.
Donald J. Trump is now president of the United States.
But now there's a new strain of TDS going around, and there's no cure for it. We even asked Dr. Siegel. It's called ballroom derangement syndrome.
I think it's going down now as an official condition by the doctors. I think they get paid extra money if they handle it because it's more difficult to handle than a normal mental disease.
Just like during COVID, CNN has a live tracker. Jim Acosta is camping outside of the White House in tears.
Well, I'm back here at the scene of the crime. This is where Donald Trump is tearing down part of the east wing of the White House so he can build a massive, gaudy, gilded ballroom to the tune of $250 million. And I wanted to come down here today and just hear what people had to say about it. And in the words of one DC resident, unbelievable.
You know who used to love the sweet sounds of jackhammers? CNN and Barack Hussein Obama.
Sounds like you're building another wing to the White House, but we appreciate you keeping your focus.
You can't even imagine, TJ. It's going to happen for the next 2 years. All of the banging, the jackhammering, the dust, the confusion, the noise of all places to do construction is happening right here, the front lawn of the White House.
It's a 4-year renovation project. Estimated cost, $376 million.
Barry tore up the White House and spent $400 million in taxpayer money during a recession.
Damn, Dell, you didn't tell me none of that.
And what did he have to show for it? New pipes and a basketball court.
All you talked about was that dumbass basketball court, bro.
That's it. Translation, the contractors took Obama to the cleaners. Trump spending less, $300 million on a big, beautiful ballroom, and you're not paying for it. No one's allowed to play ball on Barry's court, but you are allowed to dance the night away during Trump's third inauguration. But Hips isn't.
Yeah, but what about the rest of the story, dude?
Running the largest pay-to-play scheme in the history of the country, and probably soliciting donations from people who've got business before the United States government. And all of this is going to have to be investigated. It will. All of this will have to be uncovered. It will. And these people are going to be held accountable, no matter how long it takes.
They're going to impeach the president for the third time because he built a ballroom. Suddenly, Democrats are worried about historic monuments.
Trump said, I'm going to do it. I want my ballroom. If Trump next week began demolition on the Washington Monument to make it more of a Mar-a-Lago looking thing, would Republicans stand up and say anything?
The people who rip down famous statues now care about preserving American history. Since when do Democrats care so much about the White House structure? They told us the White House was built on racism.
According to the White House Historical Association, enslaved human beings were likely involved in all aspects of the construction, including the carpentry, masonry, carting, rafting, plastering, glazing, and painting.
BLM was trying to burn the White House down, and Democrats were mad Trump put around a fence. The left doesn't want America to be beautiful. They don't think we deserve it. The whole purpose of the East Wing was just a ruse to cover up an underground bunker. The First Lady's secretaries have a few offices there. That's it. The bunker will still be there. Now they all have better offices. The normies understand.
Nixon had his bowling alley. JFK had his swimming pool. So, you know, he's hitting his Dutch. And it's going to be beautiful when it's done. Yeah. Absolutely beautiful.
Democrats are just mad Trump's building a big, beautiful thing during the Schumer shutdown, when the whole point of the shutdown is suffering. Not my words, theirs.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, you know, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leveraged times we have.
They just said the quiet part out loud. They're making Americans suffer to bail out Obamacare for illegals. And they want to fire the only Democrat who wants to go back to work.
I'm always going to vote country over my party. And if I pay a price within my base, you know, that's something I'm willing to do. I'm not afraid to tell my truth. And if I'm going to pay a penalty, I'm not afraid of that. It's wrong to shut our government down.
Democrats won't defend you, but they will defend the guy who wants to kill children. And now they're defending a guy with a Nazi tattoo. This guy's running for Senate in Maine, named Graham Plattner. Got a skull and bones Nazi symbol tattooed on his chest when he was a Marine. The so-called nipple Nazi said he got drunk in Croatia and just woke up with it. Had it on his chest for 20 years. And he says when someone told him it symbolized the SS, he covered it up with a wolf.
Okay. I can't quite tell, but yeah. Well, actually, maybe. Yeah. It still has its like healing thing on it.
I hate anti-Semitism. I hate Nazism and Nazis. They're going to call me a communist no matter what. They called Hillary Clinton a communist. They call anyone who ever advocates for any sort of beneficial programs for working people a communist or a socialist.
And they said Hegseth was a Nazi because he had a tattoo of a cross. This guy has an actual Nazi tattoo, and they say he's just going through a phase.
I'm not overly impressed by a squad of media running around saying, what do you think about the tattoo on Graham Plattner's chest? He went into a dark period in his life. I suspect that Graham Plattner is not the only American to have gone through a dark period.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Democrats can go through a dark period and get Hitler tats, and they'll forgive you. You can run for Senate. But if an 18-year-old posts a Michelle Obama meme, he's canceled for life? Come on. Democrats called everyone they hated a Nazi. Trump, Miller, Vance, Pete, Ice, everybody. And now one of their guys has been running around tatted up like the Third Reich. And they're like, he covered it up. You know what else this so-called nipple Nazi said? This oyster farmer, by the way. Guy said blacks don't tip. Said cops are bastards. And rural America is racist and stupid. Democrats defended him. They still are. They're against the ballroom, but the so-called nipple Nazi's great. It's almost like the whole Nazi thing was a hoax just to take us out. And they always go right for the neck.
I'm from the hood, okay? So when a bully comes, like, if there are no rules, you literally have to figure it out. So if you hit me in my face, I'm not going to punch you back in your face. I'm going to go across your neck. You've got to hit hard enough where they won't come back.
Miss Yolanda, where are your manners? That's not how you talk to people. I'm beginning to think they really do want us dead. This whole young generation on the left, I'm not so comfortable with. But they're climbing the ladder. Guess who's running for Senate in Texas? Jasmine Crockett. Jazzy, not to be confused with Davy, wants to be a member of the world's greatest deliberative body. Republicans are licking their chops.
This would be a dream scenario for Republicans because the possibility will make Democrats nationally nervous. I do not think that is the right nominee. And what's worse for national Democrats, I think it's very hard to stop Jasmine Crockett to winning the Democratic nomination if she does run for the Senate.
They rigged the primaries against Bernie, but old Burn Dog's getting the last laugh. His new crop of commies are starting to take over. It looks like Kami Mandami is going to be the next mayor of New York City.
Let me tell you, shouldn't have done it. I knew when I saw it. You think I thought I was going to kill it? I knew there was a problem. But next year, 136. Okay.
The commie's kind of funny, but government-run grocery stores, no joke. And he's just the test run for AOC.
Do you think she would be a formidable presidential candidate as someone that's done it twice?
Yeah, I think she would, and I think other people would as well. So that's her decision. Got a lot of other great people out there.
2028 is going to be like the Bolshevik Revolution. The communists might overthrow the Democrat royal family. That's why the cross-legged Messiah has already anointed his cross-legged disciple for the run. It Girl Newsom, flavor of the year. He's going to have to fend off a full court press of freaks. But not before the big guy burns it all down. Remember, nobody F's with a Biden. And Hunter's on a solo mission to fight for his father's legacy and settle some scores. Clooney, Kamala, Barack, Tapper too. Hunter might run in 2028. Is Fox going to host a debate between AOC, Newsom, Hunter, and Kamala? I don't think I can let Brett moderate. I'm going to have to take it. The party's not even on speaking terms.
If your child has used Roblox, you might be owed significant compensation from a lawsuit currently underway. Find out if you qualify. While market
Last night at Cafe Milano in Georgetown, Obama was there, and so was Joe Biden. But they didn't sit next to each other. They didn't even talk. Biden had a seat out front at a table where he wanted to be seen. Barack was in a private room in the back with a bunch of advisors. Sources say Barry wants to invest in pro sports franchises. We hope it's not the Trailblazers. More on that later. Imagine your vice president is in the same restaurant and you don't even go say hi. And he just had cancer treatment. Barack doesn't even send a drink over to the table. Politics is a brutal business. Trump's just sitting back and watching the show.
They've even now started imitating me, of all people. They want to imitate me. And they start using foul language, but they use too much of it. You know, you can't use the F word 7 times in one sentence. It doesn't work. It might work once every 7 news conferences, but you can't do it. You can't do it 7 times in one sentence.
It's Trump's world. Just ask Time magazine. Although Gavin Newsom says Trump and MAGA are at risk of not getting into heaven. They'll have a lot to reconcile at the pearly gates. Gavin should worry about his own soul. He turned heaven into hell. Have you seen California? The it girl better be careful, because in 2028, Trump might take over the Golden State.
What Donald Trump should do is, when he leaves the office, run for governor of California. And just take over California and fix it. It would be hilarious if he did. It would be one of the funniest things of all time if an 82-year-old man.
No, I would pay money to see that happen, buddy. I would pay money for you to have to watch Trump every day on your news.
Steps into the office of governor of California. We're going to fix everything. You've got a problem with water. I know how to get the water.
I'll pay big money for that.
Hilarious.
Shit.
And welcome to Hannity, and tonight a big show, a lot of news. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy will be here on the disaster Joe Biden and Pothole Pete left behind. Now, another unvetted Biden-Harris illegal immigrant driving an 18-wheeler just arrested after ramming his big rig into several cars, killing 3 Americans while allegedly intoxicated. And in case you're wondering how a person like this got his commercial driver's license, you may just have to check in with the United Socialist Utopia Governor of California, Governor Gavin Newsom, if he's not busy tweeting and doing a podcast. Also tonight, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, he will join us. His state is holding one of the 3 major elections this year, but according to MSDNC, Americans are just so misogynistic that the Democrat Abigail Spanberger might lose to Winsome Sears. Oh, 2 women. Take a look.
This is something that a lot of Democrats are grappling with right now. As they've nominated women 2 of the last 3 elections for the presidency, lost both. There are some who say, well, we can't do that again. The stakes are too high. But of course, that does fall into the same misogynistic trap.
That make any sense? Anyway, as you can see, the legacy media mob, they're still using and addicted to identity politics, even when a Republican candidate happens to be a Jamaican-American immigrant woman. Unfortunately, on the left, attacks from Democrats have taken on an even more sinister tone. In fact, a huge part of the radical Democratic base absolutely, positively hates anyone who dares to disagree with them. This venom now has spread throughout the Democratic Party like a cancer, and it has now inspired some of their most unhinged members to commit real acts of violence. We are living through an assassination culture. Scary times out there. We all witnessed President Trump come within a millimeter of losing his life. We all witnessed the horror of Charlie Kirk's assassination, and we have long reported on the seemingly never-ending stream of attacks against ICE agents, politicians, anyone else targeted by the left, judges, etc. And yet, the vitriol from Democrats worse than ever. On fake news CNN, a Texas Democrat running for Congress threatened to go across the neck of her Republican adversaries. Very embracing. Take a look.
3.
If you're missing 5 or more teeth, dental implants can be that final solution for you too. See if you may be.
Donald Trump has changed things, and people trying to do what's always been done is not going to work. And I think that's why Democrats are losing black people. That's why they're losing poor people, because poor people, all they want is for us to fight. So if you hit me in my face, I'm not going to punch you back in your face. I'm going to go across your neck, because we can go back and forth fighting each other's faces. You got to hit hard enough where they won't come back. And so, yeah, for the same way I went to New York and spoke with Governor Kathy Hochul and said, if they're going to try to wipe us out in Texas, we need to wipe out every Republican in New York, in California, in Illinois. So no one can make me feel bad about fighting for the people that I represent.
I'm going to the gutter. What the fuck did that bitch just say? Hold on. What the fuck did I just hear from that raggedy ass bitch? Bro.
I'm gonna punch you back in your face. I'm gonna go across your neck, because
Series. Very embracing. Take a look.
Donald Trump has changed things, and people trying to do what's always been done is not going to work. And I think that's why Democrats are losing black people. That's why they're losing poor people, because poor people, all they want is for us to fight. So if you hit me in my face, I'm not going to punch you back in your face.
Bitch, hold on. You think that's why? You don't think it's because you're fucking psychotic? Look at you. Bald-headed ass bitch. Listen, look at you. Listen what you about to say.
I'm going to go across your neck, because we can go back and forth fighting each other's faces. You got to hit hard enough where they won't come back. And so, yeah, for the same way I went to New York and spoke with Governor Kathy Hochul and said, if they're going to try to wipe us out in Texas, we need to wipe out every Republican in New York, in California, in Illinois. So no one can make me feel bad about fighting for the people that I represent.
Unbelievable. Maybe the worst part, zero pushback, no attempt to clarify from fake news CNN. The network that, gets the vapors every time Donald Trump tells a joke, can't be bothered to call out violent language at Democrats live on the air who echo the...
Oh, you sound like a whiny bitch, too. All y'all sound like whiny bitches.
The Charlie Kirk assassination. Here's another example. Look at your screen. A school teacher from Illinois, still gainfully employed and has the support of the principal after violently mimicking the shooting of Charlie Kirk during a, quote, No Kings protest. In fact, the principal of her school is defending this in a letter to parents.
Fuck.
Pretending.
I'm not even going to address the real issue there. I'll just go ahead and let it go.
She's the victim. And at the University of Arizona, as we discussed last night, this investigation still underway. A pink-haired lunatic caught on camera telling a group of Turning Point USA students to watch their necks. Take a look.
Hey, Nazis, can you set up somewhere where I can avoid you easily?
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day.
Nah, you, Nazi. Watch your neck.
Hold on. Was that a fucking dude or a fucking manly bitch? That pink hair, bro. How do I get this?
Take a look.
Hey, Nazis, can you set up somewhere where I can avoid you easily?
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day.
Look at that bitch.
You, Nazi. Watch your neck.
Watch your neck.
Wow.
Psycho
But the glorification
ass
of violence doesn't end there. The raging Cajun, what happened to good old James Carville, now raging more than ever, not in a good way. Take a look.
You know what we do with collaborators,
right?
And I think as corporations, my fantasy dream is that this nightmare ends in 2029, and I think we ought to have radical thing. I think they all ought to have their heads shaven. They should be put in orange pajamas, and it should be marched down Pennsylvania Avenue, and the public should be invited to spit on them. The universities, the corporations, the law firms, all of these collaborators should be shaved, pajamaed, and spit on.
I
The
can't
future of
argue
your
with
business
that.
is here. With Wix, you get advanced AI capabilities.
I can't argue with that.
Shave, pajama, and spit on. That's more openness and a loving embrace from the left. You would think after all of the shootings, all of the violence, all of the assassination and assassination attempts, Democrats would try to tone down
At least
the
he's
rhetoric.
being
Instead,
honest, you know?
they're ramping it up big time. In Illinois, Governor J.B. Pritzker constantly comparing Donald Trump, ICE agents, to Nazis. Just a couple of hours ago, right here on this network, our own Brett Baer called him out. How did Pritzker respond? By comparing Trump to Pinochet. Remember the notoriously violent dictator from Chile? Take a look.
What I can tell you is that Alberto Pinochet was an authoritarian. There are lots of authoritarians that I could point to. It happens that I know best because I helped build a Holocaust museum sitting next to Holocaust survivors about what the Nazis did in those early years.
I understand that.
I'm not
but
talking
you're
about the
comparing
Holocaust.
to
I'm
ICE
talking about
agents.
what they were doing, taking away people's rights, arresting people, asking them for papers. Early on in an authoritarian regime, wherever it is in the world throughout history, this is what happens. It's the beginning of something very bad for our country.
All right, according to Pritzker, America is now virtually the same as the early days of Nazi Germany. Nazi, fascist, racist, Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini. They don't stop. Didn't work in 24, but why stop now? This is nothing more than dangerous, dehumanizing, and never-ending incitement. People that may be a little off balance are hearing these, quote, leaders every day. Repeating the same lie, the same smear, the same slander, the same besmirchment. And of course, he says, you know, this without any fear of retribution or violence because we don't live in a dictatorship and it's his base that is committing all of that violence. And you would think he may begin to focus on something positive, like bringing down the homicide rate in his extremely violent state. Remember, 5 times the homicide rate of New York City. That's saying a lot. Over 4,000 dead in Illinois since that demagogue became governor. He's a failure. He's a disgrace. And out west in California, Newsom still making his weird, cringeworthy social media posts. In a gross new post, Newsom publishing this image of knee pads of Trump supporters, also bashing those who collaborate with the Trump administration, suggesting they won't get into heaven. Okay, take a look.
Donald Trump's a broken man. He's trying to break this country. Everybody knows that. But to see people in positions of power and influence do absolutely nothing when they must know better, and I believe they do nothing, boy, they're going to have a lot to reconcile at the pearly gates.
Oh,
and you're not. You could have saved all those people's houses and people from dying in California, but you refused to. Remember the wildfires?
Luckily, it won't be Gavin Newsom that makes that decision. Thank goodness for Jesus. Meanwhile, on MSDNC, more vilification of President Trump, this time featuring their favorite new source of hysteria, the big, beautiful new ballroom under construction. Forget about the 16 to 20 other presidents that have done a lot of construction at the White House. That doesn't count. Take a look.
But it's also un-American what he plans to do, right? Like what's going to go up in its place is not anything that we're used to seeing here. Here's a side-by-side of Trump's rendition of a ballroom with the Winter Palace Ballroom in St. Petersburg. Russia.
Yeah, Russia. I mean, autocrats have a similar aesthetic. They like a lot of gold.
Really? They're back to peddling lies and conspiracy theories? Russia. That hoax still raging inside the halls of MSDNC? And meanwhile, behind the walls of America's most prestigious colleges, more vitriol directed at President Trump, according to a new report. A dean at Harvard University openly hoping that Donald Trump would die, called police evil, mocked the death of our friend Rush Limbaugh, described whiteness as a self-destructive ideology. A few hundred miles south at Howard University, a professor there openly encouraging white allies to become violent against their political enemies. But
what the fuck, dude? The hell is going on?
Maybe the worst rhetoric of the night is from this conversation with fake news, CNN, one of their hosts, Abby Phillips. Take a look.
What do you do when the racists are in charge, like they are now? Like Stephen Miller is a white supremacist.
Everything about Mint Mobile seems unreal, and now we're introducing 5G home internet for $30.
I mean, he is, and he's basically running the White House. They keep Trump busy with his decorating projects. He's got building the arch now. He's got his Oval Office design. And then you have these real sociopaths that are real anti-Semites, true white supremacists like Stephen Miller. And even though he's Jewish, he's like a Nazi Jew.
Well, look, I can't speak to what Stephen Miller's motivations are.
Really? That's all CNN, an anchor there, has to say? Stephen Miller and his family have faced one threat after another. Look at this. That's in front of his house. That is his wife, Katie, cleaning off the sidewalk that these left-wing agitators targeting their home where they have young children. And yet the violent rhetoric from the left continues without a care in the world.
Thank you. And I must remind you, please do not feed Brett Baer. He'll just follow you home. Happy Thursday, everyone. So Hunter Biden called parts of Kamala Harris's new memoir, quote, personally painful. Publishers apparently forgot to tell Hunter, you're not supposed to put it up your butt. The Chicago teacher who mocked Charlie Kirk's assassination still remains employed. But school officials explain that firing her could cause her to collapse from a heart attack and crush dozens of children. Because she's morbidly obese. According to a new report, San Francisco streets are dirtier than last year, with even more feces and graffiti. But officials say there's an upside. It's creating more jobs for people who count feces.
Win-win.
What the fuck?
Chocolate lining to every crowd. An enraged Texas Democrat candidate, Jolanda Jones, vows to fight ugly against the Trump administration, which won't be a problem thanks to their secret weapon.
Oh my God. What is that?
James Carville said Trump collaborators should be publicly shamed and spit on. And immediately Don Lemon signed up to be a Trump collaborator.
I think all of them should. I don't know.
A Democratic Senate candidate in Maine has come under fire for a Nazi tattoo. But now he claims he covered it up with something slightly less offensive. There's a new TikTok trend that claims you can tell the size of a guy's package by how big his smile is. On a completely unrelated note, here's my latest headshot.
It looked like Kathy.
And finally, for the fifth year in a row, Taco Bell has the fastest drive-thru.
That looked like the most hit version of Kathy Griffin you could possibly think. I swear to God, I just went and saw your comment. I was thinking the exact same thing.
With an average wait of just 4 minutes and 17 seconds. And that's the total time it takes from ordering it to having diarrhea. All right, so it's been 6 weeks since Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And have the Dems learned a thing? Hardly. Take Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, but only if you have a forklift. He's now comparing Trump's ICE raids to Nazi Germany.
We have to save this country from what Donald Trump is doing to it, because no, I do not want this country to become like other authoritarian regimes. People have criticized me for talking about the Nazi regime. People's rights started getting taken away. People got accused of being immigrants. This is before the Holocaust really took place. They create these kind of fake ideas that there's an enemy out there and it could be sitting next to you at one of these tables. And so let's round them up. Let's make sure that they are the subject of the laws that we're passing because we don't like who they are. That is what authoritarian regimes do.
Wow. You know, I used to think Pritzker was just a fat asshole. Now I realize he's a fat asshole with amnesia, clearly forgetting not just the law, but that branding people Nazis gets them killed. Yeah, enforcing immigration law is apparently how the Holocaust started. This lump of lard is as ignorant of history as he is of the food pyramid. But once again, ICE is only enforcing the law against lawbreakers. Unlike when Joe Biden was in charge, when the puppet masters removed their hands from Joe's ass long enough to sign warrants for parents, churchgoers, and a realtor with a flair for spray tans. So what does the rhetoric do? In New York City's Chinatown, ICE agents raided Canal Street Tuesday, arresting 9 illegals with rap sheets that include forgery, drug trafficking, robbery, and assault. These are bad hombres. Exactly the kind the cavalry of liberal white women seem to cherish most. Because, you know, the other guys are Nazis.
Show your face! Come on, what are you scared about? What are you scared about?
This is crazy.
Nazis, they're abducting people from their homes and their schools and their jobs, and they know what they're doing is wrong, and they don't give a because they're heartless monsters.
Well, she's got a mouth on her, and that's the only mouth she'll ever have on her. Yeah. Well, until her cats eat her dead body in her lonely apartment.
Can you believe that this guy in this picture is me? I didn't realize how bad my hair loss was until I've seen the
So there you go. Law enforcement rounds up serious criminals, and you have thirsty broads coming to their defense. Of course, they don't live there or run a business on that street. They don't even walk their dog on it like I do every day, past the block with the prostitutes, and then back around a few laps. And yet these women defend men who sell counterfeit goods, send the cash to organized crime groups who use it to traffic women.
Right.
You know, maybe it's me, but these lonely hearts should channel their passion elsewhere. Like write love letters to death row inmates. That way the inmates will drop their appeals and we can execute them faster. Last Saturday, I was on the
Damn, I was psycho.
that very street, watching these thugs surround 2 cops who were outmanned. They did nothing. So ICE hits the gang and netted 9 repeat offenders. Yet these white ladies raged over 9 measly arrests. Hell, they had twice that number after Don Lemon tweeted, "Meet me in the Central Park men's room." But it says something about a party who keeps choosing felons over citizens. And it's all because for them, there is no downside. They don't live there. And now House Dems are launching something called Master ICE Tracker, a government-funded system to monitor the government agency that enforces the law. It's designed to help fugitives evade capture, which makes them co-conspirators. And what will they do if they see something they don't like? Arrest ICE? Well, who's going to make that arrest? You and your wife's boyfriend? But if you can crowdsource tracking against ICE, why not do that to cops? Why not, if you could decide what laws matter and what don't? Maybe we should do that too. Crowdsource the locations of bat crazy white liberal women. I don't know why. And they may not be breaking any laws other than hygiene, but who's to say what a law is? So to recap, the Dems call ICE Nazis for deporting felons and choose criminals over citizens and compare the rule of law to genocide. And they're doing this while polls show Americans of both parties supporting deporting criminal illegals. But it's no stretch to go from defund the police to defend the thugs. They now believe that illegals have an exemption to the laws that citizens don't, which only emboldens illegals to go after the cops. I saw it with my own eyes. Not only can you come here illegally and commit crime, you do it knowing that the laws won't apply. Democrats aren't trying to win you back. They want you to lose hope. That way, they think, the more likely you'll vote for them.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
I got one more, and then I'm gonna go watch the Cavs game. I hope everybody's having a good Friday night. What's up, everybody?
America. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, Democrats want you to believe that they're resisting President Trump because they're fighting for the little guy.
I was gonna talk to you.
No, I'm not gonna just sit back while he's, literally turning this country into a dictatorial regime.
Literally. Does he know how he sounds? Well, Governor Porkchop, sorry, no one's buying it. Do not believe for one moment that liberals protesting ICE, resisting ICE, or simply trying to protect migrants, they don't care about the plight of illegals any more than they care about the plight of African Americans in the inner city. By the way, 14 people were shot over the weekend in Chicago, 4 dead from gunshots. They simply use illegals, and frankly, they use minorities for political power. And in case of illegal aliens, they use them for cheap labor as well. In fact, in many ways, think about it, it's open season on law-abiding Americans, courtesy of the Democrat Party. Every illegal alien that they harbor with their sanctuary policies is a threat and a drain on resources. Now you add in criminal justice reforms, things like pretrial release with cashless bail like they have in Illinois, and you're playing with people's lives. This is exactly what happened in the case of Leiter Jefferson Aruz Mendina from Nicaragua. He's accused of brutally raping a 54-year-old woman. According to DHS, he allegedly grabbed his victim by the hair, dragged her screaming across the street, forced her into an alleyway, threw her to the ground, strangled her, removed all of her clothes. The sounds of her screams were picked up by residents' private surveillance video. He repeatedly slammed the back of her head into the concrete, causing her to lose consciousness. Aruz Mendina was released into the United States by the Biden administration and shielded from deportation by whom? Porkchop Pritzker. There are hundreds, even thousands of stories like this across the country in states and cities run by rabid open borders activists. To them, American victims, including women raped, children trafficked, they're just inconvenient collateral damage. The goal seems to be blood in the streets.
Don't forget where you're standing. This is South Central Los Angeles. They are not the only ones with guns in this city. They're not the only ones, and don't forget that. And I don't say that because we're calling for violence. I'm saying that because the people have every right to defend themselves against masked, unidentified gunmen with AR-15s and other military rifles.
So this dude's openly this dude's openly calling to shoot at ICE. Is he fucking stupid? He's leading y'all down a bad path because they will murk you all. But
that's not violent, that's intelligent.
That's not intelligent.
The only ones with guns. That's the key phrase here. Think about it. They wish to take up arms. They want you to take up arms, threatening those who put their lives on the line to protect us every single day. Well, that makes all Americans less safe. They don't want illegals who break our laws punished. Activists and elected officials alike want the rest of us punished, especially law enforcement. Now, in this next clip, listen for the word bricks as a Union de Barrio thug brags about what they did in LA against ICE.
That's why they went to Chicago and other places, because here the people are organized and resistance was strong. They caught some bricks. Y'all remember Paramount? They caught those bricks. This is Los Angeles and this is South Central. The people will fight back.
What the fuck did that guy just say? What about the
Now
bricks?
this is an...
Hold on. Did you talk about all those bricks that were placed for them to strategically destroy their own shit?
Open call for rebellion against federal law enforcement, which is being replicated across America. Yesterday in New York, liberals decided to try to stop an ICE raid in Chinatown. Again, these people are pretending to care about street vendors. Oh, they're just street vendors trying to make a living. But both the purses they were selling and the people selling them were illegal. The illegal aliens were selling counterfeit goods, which is a federal crime, and they all had rap sheets. It was only a few weeks ago that our friend Nick Shirley encountered one of these nasty entitled criminals when he was walking down Canal Street.
We don't do no camera.
Hey,
Out of here with that.
we can be here on the street. This is public street.
Yo, get the this our block, you ass.
You block?
Yeah. So somebody spend this and take the camera away.
They act like they own the place, don't they? And why shouldn't they? For years, they've had the run of the streets. Even when arrested, they're...
Bro, we need to gang up and go run up into another country and just take their shit over.
quickly released to commit more crimes. They know this.
Like the streets, not some military shit, like the streets, like these fools are doing.
Zero accountability. So why don't Democrats celebrate the arrest of criminals, right? They care about the little guy.
I seen her.
Because their victims don't matter. Whether they're American businesses or citizens, the Democrats do not care. People like Gavin Newsom will never rush to a camera to warn illegal aliens to leave his state or else. But he'll always rush to a camera to warn our brave ICE agents.
I mean, if some guy jumped out of an unmarked car in a van with a mask on, tried to grab me, I mean, by definition, you're going to push back.
The words they're using, fight, push, resist, they're signaling very clearly that it's wartime. And Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson thinks he's a general.
There are cities across this country that are now creating ice-free zones, right? And so what we're doing is simply leading the only way Chicago knows how. Being on the front lines is something that we're very accustomed to, and it's going to take all of us to ensure that we dismantle tyranny in this country.
Johnson, dismantle tyranny. Ice-free zones are the answer. We're on the front lines. Okay, General. General idiot. Sure sounds like he's calling for an insurrection to me. And they're already promising their post-war tribunals.
When we win the majority and have the power to subpoena and have the power to get any document, have the ability to bring anyone forward to our committee, we are not just only going to hold Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller accountable for what they've done. Our message is clear. If you are out there and you are taking orders and committing these illegal actions, we are going to hold.
This shit's wild.
They're promising post-war tribunals. So they're now threatening ICE agents. What do they make? $100,000 a year if they're lucky? $80,000 a year if they're just starting? By the way, many of those ICE agents happen to be minorities themselves, Hispanics and African Americans. And what are they threatening these Democrat officials? What are they threatening them with exactly? For violating what law? Carrying out legal orders in the execution of duly passed legislation that Congress passed? Legislation that, by the way, lays out very clearly who is and who is not a deportable alien. All those individuals on Canal Street are deportable aliens. And by the way, these activists, and then of course including politicians, threatening our ICE agents, impeding arrests, immigration raids, they all have to be charged and prosecuted before one American gets killed. The Democrats are desperate. They're lawless. But we are determined in defending law and order. And every time when you have good people in office, law and order will prevail. And that's the angle.
New York City's getting hit with an ice storm.
They are not the only ones with guns in this city.
What George did, I just thought, was a self-sabotaging act of disloyalty. When you use moments and then stab my dad in the back, I don't know why anyone would think that I have anything nice to say.
Hunter's got an enemies list, and everyone's on it.
I don't live my life to impress Jake Tapper.
They all ought to have their head shaved. It should be marched down Pennsylvania Avenue, and the public should be invited to spit on it.
Democrats are spitting mad.
No Trump!
No king. No king. Plus,
Sandy. Tell me about it, Stud.
In the Win with Zen sweepstakes, you can get a chance to win $100,000. But there's more than one way to win with Zen. Here's how it works. For 5 weeks...
the Cajuns raging.
I think they all ought to have their head shaven. They should be put in orange pajamas, and it should be marched down Pennsylvania Avenue, and the public should be invited to spit on it.
Carville wants to shave Stephen Miller's head squeaky clean. Joke's on him. Miller's already bald, and he looks great in orange. We'll leave the razor with James. We know he shaves his chest. The Cajun has stage 5 TDS, and there's only a few known treatments. Read Get It Together, still available where books are sold. Self-deportation like Irish Rosie, and acoustic guitar therapy.
This is a song I wrote called Crazy World, which is how I cope.
Okay, let's hear it.
This crazy world's gone crazy. Who am I to judge? It's nice to know in a world full of hate, there's someone out there still making love.
Don't crash out, just make love. Or better yet, if you need something a little more exotic, Shri will serenade you with his big, beautiful bullhorn. No Trump!
No Trump!
No kings!
No kings!
No kings!
No kings!
Music and lovemaking aren't for everyone. Tampon's dealing with his TDS by playing a little putt-putt.
Republicans in Washington are making it even harder for folks. Now's the time for action.
Is Tampon allowed within 500 feet of a mini golf course? He better check with his PO. You know how Trump blows off steam? He builds things.
You can see the kind of interiors that we're talking about. That's an interior of the ballroom. And it's the highest level. And you see it goes beautifully with the White House. I mean, the mix is beautiful.
Hips is livid that Trump's running the government better than ever during the Schumer shutdown.
Donald Trump is once again preparing to fly out of the country. The East Wing of the White House is being demolished so that Donald Trump can construct a ballroom where he will be celebrated like a king.
There's no throne, Hips. It's just a ballroom where you shake your booty. Dime store Obama should remember the cross-legged Messiah was dying for a big, beautiful ballroom. He had to throw a state dinner in a tent like Gaddafi. It was so tacky, people crashed it. If the Obamas built a ballroom instead of a basketball court, they could have booked Stevie Wonder. Oprah and Stedman could have done the foxtrot, and the women's hair wouldn't have been all frizzed out from the humidity. But instead, Biden got the keys to the castle and got lost. Kamala bankrupted the whole kingdom. The DNC's still behind on bills. They're still paying off Mamala's debt. Just last week, the DNC tried to throw a fundraiser in San Francisco with Harris as the headliner, and the donors were like, lose this number. One anonymous donor replied with a profanity-laced rejection. Nancy might not be around for long either. Democrats are throwing around the R word. Retired. Word is next month, she's making a big ol' announcement. The Pauly P portfolio had a good run, but good things come to an end. The saying usually goes, mo money, mo problems, but for Democrats, it's no money, more problems. Democrats are so strapped for cash, they won't even take a pay cut in solidarity with bureaucrats.
Some members are voluntarily not taking pay. Are you on board with that? No.
Where's Bernie? Well, Burn Dog's actually trying to make a quick buck during the shutdown. He wrote a book called Fight Oligarchy. How many times have we heard that?
This democracy is evolving into an oligarchy. We are moving in the direction of oligarchy.
I swear to God, Bernie Sanders reminds me of David if he wasn't communist. It reminds me of David in so many fucking ways.
This great country is evolving into an oligarchic society. The drift which currently exists toward an oligarchic form of society.
Oligarchy.
Fighting oligarchy's been Bernie's job for 30
We're gonna get the oligarchy.
years, and he's still fighting it. That means he hasn't done it.
I swear to God, I'm gonna sue him. I'm gonna sue the oligarchy.
Very good job. You know who else is fighting a fake enemy for a quick buck? Binder.
We can't behave as if or react to situations per usual. These are unprecedented times. You have to lean in, you have to fight. And these are the things that everyday Americans are asking for. Where are the Democrats? Why are they not fighting?
Binder's DEI revenge tour is getting messy. She's demolishing the Democrat Party like it's the East Wing. Who do you call when you need help blowing stuff up? Hunter. Yesterday, Hunter said he wanted to bust Obama's lip. Now he wants a piece of Clooney.
What did he say?
What George did, I just...
Hold on. He said he wanted to bust Obama's lip. Get the fuck out of here.
thought was a self-sabotaging act of disloyalty, not just to my dad, but to the whole party. That's my opinion, okay? And I think I have a right to be really upset about it.
Hunter's still fuming about the coup. And if he sees Tapper, he's going to snatch his glasses and stick them where the sun don't shine.
He says, and I'm a scumbag, and I'm a this and that and the other thing. And you know what? You can read my book about all my scumbaggery. I wrote all about it. And addiction is a really, really, really ugly thing. Divorces are really, really, really ugly things. I don't live my life to impress Jake Tapper, but I am.
Jake Tapper,
it's
Hunter.
It's really, really poor journalism.
Hunter's scrappy, and Binder looks like she's still on the payroll. These two are laying the groundwork for the big guy to drop his memoir. Binder says Joe still has his fastball.
I saw someone who was sharp, understood history, understood policy. I'm not saying he didn't age, but I'm saying he was there. He was like really.
It wasn't dementia.
No. It was somebody that cared about this country.
Hunter thinks Daddy would have won if it weren't for Clooney. And now he has an enemies list. And the Obama boys are right at the top.
Isn't it the same argument that the Pod Save America guys made, that David Axelrod made, that Jake Tapper made, that, go down the list of all of the guys that were saying that Joe Biden could never win. They were all the guys that said Joe Biden could never win in 2016. They're all the guys that said Joe Biden was out of the running and could not win in 2020.
Even Kamala's collateral damage. Hunter calls her a DEI hire and said, of course the big guy knew it. So what?
The reason,
dude, I gotta watch this, dude. He said he wants to punch Obama in the face, and he called fucking Kamala a DEI hire, dude. I need to hear this shit.
that he picked Kamala Harris is because of the fact that he believes in, and I certainly believe, the most powerful force within the Democratic Party is and always has been the African American women. They're the heart and soul and the conscience of the Democratic Party, and that's why he thought it was so important to have not. And by the way, and she had an incredible resume and is perfectly capable of being president of the United States.
Kamala could be president. Even Binder was like, Hunter, are you back on that crack? She says, I never really believed Harris could win. Wow. Maybe Binder does have a brain. Democrats are 0-2 running women for president. One white, one black. Are they really going to run another woman?
I mean, this is something that a lot of Democrats are grappling with right now. As they've nominated women 2 of the last 3 elections for the presidency, lost both. There are some who say, well, we can't do that again. The stakes are too high. But of course, that does fall into the same misogynistic trap.
Other countries have no problem electing women.
Well, Democrats have 2 hot governor races in New Jersey and Virginia, and they're running Mickey and Abby. And they're both in trouble, bigly. They both want boys changing in girls' locker rooms and serve up word salads more than mamala. Once again, the cross-legged Messiah has to try to save the ladies. They're going to stuff Barry in a jet from Honolulu and make him fly east to lecture the brothers again. And he's already complaining.
I thought I was going to be able to remove myself more from being out there in public and was going to be able to concentrate on what I really wanted to do, which was coach the next generation of leadership.
Barry's not just bailing out Democrats in the midterms. He's looking ahead to 28. Obama knows they can't run another woman, so he's choosing the next closest thing.
Someone that gets it and gets things done. It's my honor to introduce President Barack Obama.
Thanks, Kevin. And thank you, everybody who is not just on this call, but more importantly, doing the work. And good job, Governor Newsom, for the outstanding work that you've done and the leadership you've shown.
Newsom's the new it girl. The Obamas and the Clintons are both on board. He's the chosen one. But Gavin better have an answer for trans. Until they figure that out, they're toast. There's one Democrat who
he called Gavin the new it girl. That's fucking hilarious.
thinks they have an answer.
You're Hunter Biden running for president, and they're attacking you about this they-them. How do you respond to that?
No, I mean, look, I think the way that I respond to it is say, shut the up. Like, that's not our problem. If you're really that concerned about it, then go talk to your priest. Go talk to your therapist.
Hi, kid. Actor Jeff Daniels also weighed in.
And by the way, do we really have to treat people like that? You know, the meme that he had where he was flying with the crown and the, you know, spewing excrement all over the people down below.
The country, America.
Yeah, he tried it. Would Lincoln have done that?
No, Lincoln didn't have the internet. And maybe it's me.
I thought him drop that shit was hilarious.
I don't think we need any more actors weighing in on Lincoln.
Okay, if there's one AI site builder you need to meet, it's this dope tech from Wix. Now this whole flow
Keep thinking I'm gonna use my fucking my other laptop.
Because yeah, one shot him. But talk about breathtaking analysis. Lincoln wouldn't do AI memes. What's next? George Washington would never own a Tesla. Wow, that's amazing. Then there's the Times accusing Trump of using AI as propaganda. Propaganda for whom exactly? Fans of being pooped on? That would play right into Biden's nurses. All this outrage is just a press gimmick where they pretend one ephemeral topic is the only thing happening right now. It's like a real estate agent showing you a delightful 3-bedroom cottage and leaving out the part about the deviant who lived there before. The renovation is just one of many things Trump's doing. Well, he's kept almost every promise he campaigned on. Gas prices are at their lowest in years. The only MS-13 gang members you'll find are in hiding in Chris Van Hollen's attic. And the National Guard has been able to make Los Angeles safe for Hollywood's pedophiles.
Liars.
Someone applauded. And Trump's not the first president to make changes to the White House. Nixon added a bowling alley, Eisenhower a putting green, and Clinton a stripper pole. Never ends. All Biden added was a bedpan. So this isn't anything new. They're miserable because everything they fought against is working, and they can't find anything real to be mad about. Trump fixed the problems, so they got to invent new ones. But in trying times, Trump outrage still pays the bills. If there's no Russiagate, how will Brian Stelter buy new pallets of Twinkies? All their attacks have failed, so they fight him on things that are popular and fun, something their party isn't. They're corrupt, miserable, and now condemned. True, since Trump came into office, this is the best episode of Flip This House ever. Let's welcome During his last show, even the chairs walked out. Comedian Joe Mackey. She's sharp and outspoken and leaves liberals broken. Host of Emily Saves America, Emily Wilson.
Bro, this is that lemon cherry gelato cookies with the lemon fucking do-si-do cookies with the fucking what was my other one? Oh, my lemon cherry gelato by Permanent Marker. And then I had one other one, all in the 1J. This shit tastes so fucking good.
She puts therapists into therapy. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Kat Tipp.
Oh!
And his fans send him
my Lemon G and the Gorilla Glue.
nudes via Pony Express. Former NWA World Champion, host of Planet Towers podcast, Tyrus. Joe, first, congratulations on your new job at H&R Block.
Thank you, Greg.
Are you behind the counter, behind the glass, or are you doing one-on-one with clients?
I'm working with your tax returns right now, and there were some discrepancies. Apparently, you listed yourself as 5'7".
Thank you for booing it. There's so much, Joe, here, and I'm sure you already have some funny things to say, but I just noticed for the first time that the historian Doug Brinkley, said that what Trump was doing was unprecedented. A historian, there's like Google. You can get the whole list of things that have been done to the White House.
Anyone can say they're a historian, just like anyone can say they're a comedian, Greg, or a male model. But to me, things aren't going well for the Democrats. They're playing defense in blue states, and they're bringing up renovation projects at the White House. I don't think you could take a panel of swing voters and ask them if they're concerned about a new ballroom being put in the White House. They'd probably be like, I just got stabbed. And they're like, well, what if I told you the floors were Formica? It makes very little difference. It could backfire because Trump might gain popularity among fans of ballroom dancing, which heavily Democratic. And on the meme issue, I think there's a lack of self-awareness here among the Democrats, because you've got Democrats at No Kings protests holding up signs that say 86-47. And those results can be tragic from that message.
That shit's crazy.
Dropping poop out of an F-18 is not going to inspire any conservative to get a fighter jet to drop poop on liberals. Their biggest worry about getting poop on them is a vacation in California.
You're right. By the way, if that meme inspired somebody to get in a jet to poop on protesters, we would actually not arrest that person, because that takes a lot of work. It would be really inspiring. Emily, I love watching these new memes, and we have to put warning, not real, on them. And it's like, I think that is for Democrats, right? Because they take them so seriously.
I don't think that's good for society if we have Trump and a fighter jet dropping feces on people and we have to tell them, by the way, guys, this is AI generated and this is a joke. And I'm like, does that mean that their voter base might actually believe this? Yeah. And they think that this is a danger to democracy, as is everything else that, they say every day?
No, it's crazy. Are you as upset about the White House as if they are? I mean, the renovations.
3.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw it and immediately I kind of was like, whoa. Is this are these our taxpayer dollars? And then as soon as I saw it wasn't, I was like, I absolutely do not care.
Yep. Yeah.
Privately funded? Great. Google search. I Googled it.
By the way, Kat, let's be honest. The White House is not attractive. People think it is, but it is real. It's like I've seen better.
I get it, but I think Dell made a good point. Who's funding it? We got to see who's funding it. If it's privately funded, who's privately funding our White House? Like what?
They're looking houses on that show about houses.
Clever.
Nailed
Thank
it.
you.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. That's why you're sitting over there.
Exactly.
Why he's in the big chair.
Well, let me post this. It's like we see all this work on the White House, and he's building a ballroom, but doesn't it just go to show you that it takes 2 to tango?
There you go. Oh, man. Come on.
You know what? Gutfeld keeps it Stuff. He's going to be dancing with the stars.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. You got it. You got it. So,
Wow.
look, I personally don't care. I also don't care if people care. I think
Yes.
it's fine. I think it's fine if people are like, I don't like that. But what bothers me is this particular brand of extremely online liberal, where it's not just that they're complaining about it, they're doing it in such a condescending way. Whereas if you don't care, it's because you just don't understand the history. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like no, actually, Sharon, it's just that I have too much going on in my life to give even a whisper of a about this.
Yeah.
You can just be like, oh, I don't like this, but to be like, well, it's because I'm so much better than you, that I am so much smarter, that I understand that you just don't get why you shouldn't like it. It's like, go outside.
Yeah.
Go hug your kid. Probably hasn't seen you in a while. Like, I can't.
By the way, Whisper of a is the title of Shannon and Bream's new book.
But you have to just of the Bible speak.
Yes. The story of a tiny little piece of feces who gets lost in the sewer and finds his way home by following a stranded condom. Tyrus, save me.
This is why we don't get the Emmy.
It was funny though, bro.
No, I'm curious about it.
You ballroom dance.
Yes, I do. I got footwork. I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
But this is upsetting. I am upset about this. The more I think about it, the more furious I get about it, because it's not what the president promised in our meeting.
Yeah.
He said he was going to make a sports bar for the fellas. It was going to have all the newest screens, and he was going to let us little machines where we could fly drones out of other countries and blow stuff up. And he folded like a lawn chair because his wife wanted a ballroom. He didn't tell any of us, and we all have to act like we like it. This is what happens. He had all these cool plans. He was gonna have a little detention center with a moat for all the liberals that we were gonna kidnap. Now we can't kidnap them. He promised us that we'd have sharks with freaking laser beams on their head to scare them. Now where are we gonna put the view? We don't have the underground moats anymore, Donald. What are we doing here? Because you want a ballroom dance. This is what happens when guys listen to their wives. It's an outrage. And I'm with Hillary Clinton on this. She knows a home wrecker when she sees one.
Yes.
That was kind of corny. I'm ending it there. That was kind of corny. I'm not gonna lie. Who's still in the chat? Anybody? Thomas, what's up? I mean, it was funny, yo, but it was just like, bro, corny as hell. What's up, Super? How you doing? Man, your name. I'm gonna call you N with the green N because I can't pronounce your name, brother. Ryan, Tracy, how you doing? Nut, if you're still around, good to see you, bro. Anybody else that I'm missing? Carter's brass, liars and bullies. Are you crying? Wah. I'm sorry. Choirs and bowies. Oh. What's cry for you? We'll cry for you there, little Porter brass, whatever your fucking name is. Yeah. Anybody else? Anything else? This is what happens to a country who elevates an educated apist found guilty of sexual assault. So basically, you're one or two. Man, lots of crying, fucking lips, huh? Fucking A. All right, y'all. I'm fucking out of here. Y'all have a good one. God bless. Peace the fuck out.